everyone, this is an introduction video about the Blade I/O module of the Simple series. Mainly introduce the digital module, analog module, temperature module, and weighing module, as well as the communication coupling module and several communication expansion cards. The types of I/O modules in the Simple series are listed here. Here are 5 expansion cards displayed. So let's first introduce the digital quantity module. The Simple series contains a total of 6 digital modules. They are digital input module, 3 digital output modules, and 2 digital mixing modules. These modules can meet the needs of digital modules in different scenarios. Let's take a look at the specific specifications. The first is the digital input module, and that would be the size of that picture on the left, 12 times 100 times 80 millimeters. It is a 16-point digital module that supports NPN and PNP input types. Supports multiple input filtering settings. The default is 6-point for millisecond filtering. The lower left corner is the wiring diagram of the digital input module. NPN or PNP input types can be accessed. This is a digital output module. The output type of these 2 modules is a transistor source output and a transistor drain output. Then the output points are all 16 points. And the lower left corner is the wiring diagram of the 2 digital output modules. Here is an 8-point relay output digital module, which can support 5 approximately 2 for VDC output or 5 to 5 OVAC output. The lower left corner is the wiring diagram of the relay output module. Here are 2 digital mixing modules with 8 inputs and 8 outputs, both of which have transistor drain output. Digital input also supports a variety of filtering settings. The lower left corner shows the input and output wiring diagrams of the 2 hybrid modules. Let's take a look at the introduction of the analog module. The Simple series has 2 analog modules, namely analog input module and analog output module. You can select the corresponding module according to different application scenarios. Let's take a look at the specific specifications. The analog input module supports for voltage or current inputs, and the channel can also be freely configured to enable. Then in terms of the range of the input, the voltage input type supports the range of 0 to 10 volts, plus or minus 10 volts, and the current input type supports the range of 0 to 20 milliamperes and for 220 milliampere. The data format corresponding to the voltage is minus 32,000 to 32,000 for plus or minus 10 volts. 0 to 10 volts corresponds to 0 to 32,000. And the data format corresponding to the current is 0 to 32,000. When selecting a 4 to 20 mA range configuration, it has the function of channel disconnection detection. The lower left is the wiring diagram of the analog input module, taking channel A as an example. When accessing the voltage signal, only the signal needs to be connected to a positive and a negative. When accessing the current signal, it is also necessary to short a positive and raw. Let's take a look at the analog output module. It is a 4-way analog output module. The output type can be voltage or current. Then the output range. Voltage can output plus or minus 10 volts or 0 to 10 volts signal range. Current can output 0 to 20 milliamperes and for 220 milliamperes signal range. The data format corresponding to the voltage is minus 32,000 to 32,000 for plus or minus 10 volts. 0 to 10 volts corresponds to 0 to 32,000, and the data format corresponding to the current is 0 to 32,000. The lower left corner is the wiring diagram of the analog output module. Taking channel 0 as an example, if the output voltage is to be output, the load is connected to VO and M. And if it is the output current, the load is connected to IO and M. Next, let's take a look at the introduction of the temperature module. The temperature module has 2 acquisition types of modules, thermal resistance and thermocouple. According to the different input signals, you can select the corresponding module. Next, let's take a look at its specific specifications. It supports 4 channels of various types of thermocouple input signals. The default is K-type thermocouples. The module has cold junction compensation and disconnection detection functions by default. Then, here is the wiring diagram of the thermocouple acquisition module. Take channel as an example. Connect it between a positive and a negative. This is a 4-channel thermistor acquisition module, such as PT100, PT500, PT1000, etc. And thermistors are supported. The wiring supports 2-wire and 3-wire wiring, as shown in the figure on the left. Next, introduce the weighing module. The simple series includes 4 weighing modules, including 1 weighing and 2 weighing options, and then all have high-precision measurement capabilities. The accuracy of the module can reach 0.01%. It is designed with 24-bit accuracy, which can provide stable and reliable weighing data. Then let's take a look at the specific specifications of the weighing module. The 1-way weighing and the 2-way weighing have 2 models of modules respectively, and the difference is whether it supports functions such as code correction. Here is the definition of the terminal pins of the weighing module, which can be connected according to the wire system of the weighing sensor. Let's introduce the communication module. The simple series includes 2 communication modules. One is the EtherCAT communication module, which supports EtherCAT disabling function, can be dialed and addressed through hardware, and can also update firmware through the Type-C interface on it. It also has the function of slave module ID identification. The other is the Profinet communication module, which has the Profinet switch function, can realize networking, supports RT mode and log storage function, and can also be upgraded by firmware. Through the network port, both modules support the expansion of 16 modules. Here is the parameter specification table and communication topology diagram of the EtherCAT communication coupling module. Here is the parameter specification table and communication topology diagram of the Profinet communication coupling module. The simple series supports 5 types of expansion cards, including 485 communication expansion cards, CAN communication expansion cards, analog expansion cards, RTC clock expansion cards, and 4G expansion cards. The simple series PLC body can expand up to 2 expansion cards. First, let's take a look at the specifications of the analog expansion card. This analog expansion card supports 2 inputs and 2 outputs. Both input and output types support voltage or current. Then the full-scale voltage corresponding to the analog is 0 to 10 volts. And the current is 0 to 20 milliamperes and for 220 milliamperes. The corresponding full-scale data format is 0 to 32,000. Then let's take a look at the communication expansion card. There are 2 485 communication expansion cards. The one on the left supports to 485 repeat ports and also supports RTC clock function. The RS485 expansion card has built-in Modbus 2 protocol and comes with endpoint resistance dialing after expanding the RTC clock. It can be powered off for 3 years. The other one has only one RJ45 port, which is an RS485 and can function communication port. It supports Modbus 2 leader follower protocol, free port protocol, can open and can free. It also has endpoint resistance and can be enabled by dialing. The expansion cards just introduced can be expanded on these PLCs of the simple series. PS, 4G expansion cards do not support expansion on H312. Then here is the order data for the simple series I/O modules. Here is the analytical explanation of the meaning of the module order number. That's all. Thanks for watching.